Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to anyone who is new here on the channel. My name is OGC and today we're going to be sharing tips that will help you become a better player than you are now and will definitely keep any of you who are new to the game and just beginning playing Apex Legends from being a beginner for long. Real quick, I'd like to give a shout out to one of my subscribers, Savage Wannabe. Actually was the one who requested a beginner's guide to Apex Legends, so huge shout out to them. This is the reason that I'm bringing this video here to you guys today. Before we get into any of the tips here today, I am going to ask you guys, if you guys do enjoy today's guide and find it helpful, then go ahead and hit that like button for me, run it up. You guys know exactly what to do. That's going to let anyone who clicks on this video know that this guide was actually helpful and it's what they're looking for. And if you guys are new around here and enjoyed today's guide, then it goes without saying that you guys should hit that subscribe button for me and go ahead and turn on notifications by pressing that bell icon so you never miss out on a future video. Let's get into it. Alright, now that we're in the firing range, the first thing I want you guys to focus on, and actually tip number one, is controlling the recoil of your weapons. It's such a huge part of the game. Actually practice it on the daily, in my opinion, is what I do. So we're going to go ahead and grab a weapon here first, and we're going to go to the right side of the firing range over here. And the first thing I want you guys to go ahead and do is line yourself up around here. And go ahead and pick any weapon. I just happen to grab the R301 for this demonstration real quick. What I want you guys to go and do is fire off a full clip without touching your joysticks and without touching your mouse if you're on mouse and keyboard. So here we go. Alright, so this is going to show you what the recoil pattern for whatever weapon you're shooting is. So for the R301, as you guys can see, it kind of looks like a question mark of sorts, but you don't really have to focus on that much. What you're going to want to focus on is taking a screenshot of whatever the pattern is for your weapon you've chosen and go ahead and flip that on its head. Apex is kind of unique in that aspect that you can go ahead and flip the recoil pattern that it has on its head upside down, and that's going to be the input you guys want to put into your joysticks or mouse to go ahead and combat the recoil of that weapon. So we're going to go ahead and line up again a little to the right just so that they don't intersect, and go ahead and control the recoil by doing just that. So as you guys can see, once I actually go ahead and put some input into my joystick, since I'm on controller, the recoil definitely tightens up. I'm very comfortable with R301. This is actually the first time I'm in the firing range shooting today, so a little more bullets are off center than usual, but this is why I go ahead and come into the firing range and practice for about 5 to 10 minutes before I get into a live game. Just a quick heads up, I would like you guys to go ahead and practice with the majority of the weapons in the game, just because this is a battle royale. There is randomness to the loot. I'm never, or not never, I wouldn't say never, I'm not always going to land on a R301 kit or a wingman or whatever other weapons you guys see me use often on the channel. Sometimes you're going to land on a weapon that you've never used before if you don't practice on daily. And go ahead and try out new weapons, and you're going to find yourselves in a situation where you don't know what the recoil pattern for that weapon is, and you're trying to learn on the fly, which doesn't go too well too often. So yeah, go ahead and make sure you guys try out every single weapon, especially if you're new to the game. Try to get a feel or a general feel for how that weapon functions and what kind of kick and recoil patterns they have. Once you guys go ahead and do that, you're going to come up to this top right cave. Make sure you drop everything in your inventory for this to work. Swap to Pathfinder is my legend of choice for this. Come into this cave. It's a little dark, I know, but you're going to want to come back here, grapple up here, and then go ahead and look right at this little thing here. Look down to the little part where there's like a slight glare, a little white here. Then what you're going to want to do is swap characters.
Now for the right choice.
If you guys hear that sound effect, that means you guys have done it right. Sometimes it takes a little bit of practice to make sure you line it up right, but once you do get a feel for that, you guys are going to go ahead and do and hear that, you guys are going to unlock the bots. Like I said, now they're moving around. Now they have weapons, and once they find you, they're definitely not going to be nice about it. They're going to start firing at you. Go ahead and pick up those weapons and then get firing. This is going to simulate what the enemies are going to be doing in the game for you guys, especially if you guys are new to the game. This will be a nice little heads up crash course, I guess, to what's going to be happening in your games when you finally load up into a real game. When you finally do find yourself inside a real game, this is where tip number 2 comes into play, and tip number 2 is going to be staying near your team. This might sound like it's a given for those who have some knowledge of what Apex Legends is all about, but if you're new to the game, coming from different games such as Call of Duty, Fortnite, or any other game, then you know that some people do tend to be lone wolves. I was one of those people. When I first started playing Apex Legends, I was definitely a lone wolf. I was away from my team at all times, and it often got me killed, thirsted, and I would rage quit. You know the whole deal. Once I finally started playing with my team, I saw that I started winning more gunfights, winning more games, and ultimately becoming a better player because of the situations that I was placed in when I had my team near me. Now that we made sure that you guys are an amazing teammate and are always sticking by your squad to cover for them and making sure they are supporting you in any gunfight that you are in, we're going to be moving on to our next tip, and the next tip is going to be being aware of your surroundings. Apex Legends is definitely a very hectic game when you get into the thick of things. There are a lot of third partying and a lot of teams pulling up to the same fights for the most part. In Apex Legends, you rarely have a fight where it's just you and another squad, which is why it's so important that you know what's going on around you and you don't end up like this guy here who wasn't paying attention to his surroundings and did not notice that we landed right behind him. We kind of just played with him for a bit before we ended him. But you want to be more like we are here. After we get him downed, we make sure to check our surroundings. I saw and heard the zipline, so I made sure to finish off this Pathfinder. His friend came up the zipline and ended up downing my teammate. But since I was a good teammate being near my team, I was able to go ahead and make sure he didn't get thirsted, which is something you definitely don't want happening to your teammates. Having checked how many squads were in the area when I flew in, I knew this was one of the last squads in the area, so I made sure I finished them off just to make sure we didn't have anyone else coming up this zipline trying to get us up out of the game when I went to go res my teammate. And in order to be aware of all your surroundings, I definitely highly suggest that you guys make sure you guys don't overlook any sound bites or sound effects that you guys hear in game. As you guys saw here, I was shooting at a different squad, and then I heard bullets being fired at me, which let me know that there is opponents across the way. But that actually allowed me to look in that direction, and I actually saw this Watson coming on the zip line. So had I not paid attention to that sound bite, this guy would have been coming on that zip line right towards us and possibly doing a lot of damage and maybe even downing both of us, since we were both caught off guard and preoccupied with the other squad. Alright, now that we've talked about being aware of your surroundings and have activated your guys' spidey senses when you guys are playing Apex Legends, it's time to talk about our last tip for today's guide, and that is going to be thinking about Legends abilities. Apex Legends is a game that's unique and of its own when you're considering battle royales. It takes a first-person shooter as a battle royale aspect, and then to finish it all off, it has given each and every legend its own set of abilities. As you guys can see in the background, if you guys are new to the game, there are a wide variety of abilities being showcased. I was able to fly, fire missiles. The Wraith in front of me, the one I'm chasing, was able to go and activate a phase that made her invulnerable to any damage for a set period of time. Which is very, very important when you think about it. This game is more than just having perfect aim. You definitely have to understand abilities, cooldowns, and overall the abilities of other legends as well, because you're going to be coming up against a wide variety of players who play different legends, and in order to have that upper hand, you definitely need to know what their abilities do and how long their cooldowns are in order to go ahead and combat and know when your opponents are at disadvantage when it comes to abilities. But other than that, I will say that each legend caters to a different type of playstyle, and finding that legend that caters to your playstyle is very, very important, and it comes back to the abilities that they have. As you guys have seen on the channel, if you guys have been around with me for a while, you guys know that I play mobile characters. Since I'm a very aggressive player, I tend to pick those characters with high mobility that allows me to maneuver around and get from fight to fight fast. If you're not too into that type of aggressive playstyle, you guys can definitely look at other legends such as Caustic, Watson, Gibby, other characters that don't have much mobility but definitely have the ability to go ahead and lock a sector down for your team, give you a little bit more of a fortified feel to let you go ahead and mow down those enemies out on the battlefield. Now, I know I didn't cover specific sets of abilities that pertain to specific legends in this guide, just because there are numerous legends in the game right now, and there's new legends being added every so often, which means there's a great amount of sets of abilities pertaining to each and every legend that I don't think I would be able to do justice in covering and explaining and providing advice on how to use those sets of abilities all in one video. So I'll go ahead and make future videos regarding specific legends and how to use their abilities if you guys are more interested. So go ahead and look out for those videos on the channel. There'll definitely be legend guides coming to the channel in the near future. But in regards to today's beginner's guide, that was the last tip. So before I go ahead and let you guys go, since I've already wasted 10 minutes of your time, we'll go ahead and throw up the tips that we've covered here today real quick up on the screen now. And then we'll go ahead and run through them one last time, just so you guys can go ahead and commit them to memory and then apply them to when you guys log on into Apex Legends next time. Alright, so tip number 1 was practice your recoil control. Make sure you get those patterns down for each and every weapon, and at least try out every single weapon, especially if you're new to the game, to try to get a feel of how they fire when you're aiming down sights, and especially hip fire as well. Make sure you practice that. The second tip was to play near your team at all times. Make sure you're nearby. It will definitely help you in fights, and it'll keep you from getting thirsted if you do end up going down, and no one likes getting thirsted and then having to wait for someone to pick up their banner. So go ahead and play by your team. The next one is to definitely be aware of your surroundings, especially when a fight breaks out. You want to make sure you're paying attention to what's going on around you. Any sound effects you might hear, don't disregard them, because it might be an enemy trying to flank, or it might be an enemy coming in from a different direction opposite of the fight you're currently in. And the fourth and final tip was to learn the legend's abilities, so you guys are prepared when you guys are going up against different types of legends, and when you guys are playing new legends yourself, you'll understand what their kit brings and how that legend is best utilized. So that'll go ahead and wrap up today's guide. And I really do hope that you guys found this guide helpful. And if you guys do, then go ahead and show me down below by smashing that like button for me. And if you guys are new around here and enjoyed today's guide, learned anything from the tips that I go ahead and presented here in today's video, then consider hitting that subscribe button for me. And if you do, go ahead and hit that icon next to it, that little bell icon. Might as well, since you're already there, to turn on notifications so you never miss a future video. But I'll go ahead and sign off here. I'll go ahead and let the clip in the background roll, since it is a pretty fun ending to this ranked game that I have. But I'll go ahead and catch you guys on the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching all the way through.
He's low. Barrage one, barrage one.
Get out of my game. Get out of my game. What are you doing?
Dude, we owed you a game. Yeah, good shot. I gotta fuck that right up, sorry guys. Oh, you're chilling.
Told you, give me that Kraber, and what was I gonna do with it?
I have the uppers already, broke ass.
Stop. The OG skin's the most terrifying.
No, it's not.
It really is. It means you're a psychopath.
24.
GG's.